Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome to the Exceptional Conservative Show, live from the nation's capital. We are not ashamed of the good news of conservatism, for it is the power of liberation, first to the Republican and then the Socialist. Tonight's a very important night. This is actually Freedom Fest week. We will be on our way to Freedom Fest. We will be there on Wednesday in Las Vegas, Nevada. And so we are setting sail and looking forward to a wonderful excursion of truth, justice, and the true American way. George Foreman will be speaking there, as well as the fact that the boys will be back in town. Yes, Sackhead Sean, Sackhead Clint, Free Sacco. None other than Dr. Michael Jones, the underground professor, and yours truly, the exceptional one. Yes, we will come right back together starting on Wednesday and all the way through Saturday, broadcasting live from Freedom Fest. So glad to have you on board. Listen, those people who are following in the chat room this evening, I want to let you know that I love you dearly. Thank you so much for being here tonight. Tonight's a big night because it is called Financial Freedom Day. We have advised the world that it is Financial Freedom Day, and we're going to work on getting. Good evening, Mary. Mary Brockman, my bouncer. If you just heard, you diss me, and you will be dismissed. Love you, Mary. Just want to let you know that. Also, Mrs. Biggs is watching us via live stream and Ustream. So we're ever so thankful for that opportunity. But tonight, it's a very special night. We're coming to you. We're doing Financial Freedom Day in the first hour of our program. Our focus will be on getting you financially set. This will not be the only time that we do this. And we'll do this a couple more times over the next few months. But I want to make certain that before we start talking about independence for America and getting freedom and liberty back in America, let's focus on the number one crisis for most Americans, their financial lives. It is normally because of your financial life that you get divorced and not because of the sex. It's because of your financial life that sometimes you're not able to get the employment opportunities that you seek. Sometimes it's the financial life that keeps us in the dark about what we can accomplish and how much better we can be. So tonight we're going to focus on getting our financial lives together. We're going to focus tonight on credit. And for those who are tuned in tonight, I know some of you all might have some credit issues, and it's been very difficult to get a credit card. One of the best options for you is to get a secured credit card. And so what we're encouraging people to do tonight who are in need of a credit card is to check out Unity Visa. And you can find that on our pages throughout on the Exceptional Conservative Show, except on my broadcast page. How about that? Right? You'll find it on our front page, Unity Visa. And that Visa card is a secure card, and you put $250 on it. They will report to all three of the credit bureaus that you have a credit card in place. Great opportunity to repair and to reestablish your credit. So that you'll have that opportunity at about 10 p.m. this evening, and you can do it right now if you wish. You just listen. But if you wanted to take notes and things of that nature, you can do that now as well. But at 10 o'clock, I'm going to encourage everyone as we swing into the political and economic forum that you concentrate on applying for your secure credit card. Apply for it. Get it. I tell you, it's a big help, especially if you have children who are going off to college. Uh, Mary says she hasn't used a credit card since 2007. That's awesome. Absolutely awesome. But there are some people who need it. Kids are going to school. Uh, you have to travel. You have a new business. So we'll talk about that. Ladies and gentlemen, you know how we get this thing started. And we want to thank those at Sackheads Radio, also High Plains Pundit Media, and also Red Nation Rising for carrying us this particular day. Let's go ahead and pledge allegiance to the United States of America. And kids, y'all want to take it away? Where are the kids at? Where are the kids? Okay, there they are. Kids, take it away.
Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Wow. Absolutely, positively wonderful. I want to convey to you this. It won't be the fact that you don't have $1,000,000. It won't even be that you don't have access to fluidity of funds. The greatest barrier to people being economically superior and financially independent, financially free, the greatest barrier to them being so has nothing to do with money. It has everything to do with mindset. If your mind isn't set right, I could give you $500 million and you will see the water run through your fingers less quickly than your money. There's always the story of the lottery winner, caught the bus for 30 years, ate lunch that they made, living from paycheck to paycheck, barely scrimping enough to get gifts at Christmas time, able to get their kids through college through major sacrifices. And then all of a sudden, manna from heaven falls. And they win the lottery. $2 million, $3 million, $10 million. They win the lottery. And then the next thing you know, you hear about them, they're flat broke. I want you to understand that in order for us to get financially free, we have to change our mindset. The mindset that has taught you that you're supposed to be in bondage. You're supposed to owe. You're supposed to be in debt. You're supposed to be broke. You're supposed to be without hope. That mindset's got to go. Now, I want you all to know that life ain't going to be no crystal stairs. But you know what? They don't have to be raggedy, broken stairs either. Maple and oak are just as good. So, I want you to focus tonight on getting the mindset together. First principle, mindset. Mindset change gives you many dollars. A mindset change will give you many dollars. So, what mindset do we have to have in order to become wealthy? Well, I already told you, being wealthy doesn't have to come from a change in mindset. It just basically, it's, I love, favorite line out of Wall Street with Douglas, Kirk Douglas. Was it Kirk Douglas? It was Michael Douglas? Forgive me, Michael Douglas was in it. Wall Street. I think it was 1989. And he said, "A fool and his money are lucky to get together in the first place." I want you to understand that not every day is promised you. Even when you apply all the perfect principles, sometimes circumstances in life will overthrow whatever you have been planning. But because you have planned for it, you're able to balance life a whole lot better than having not planned at all or having an immediate influx of money. So I want you to understand some principles as we go along over the next couple of months or whatever, that money isn't wealth and wealth isn't preservation. Money isn't wealth and wealth isn't preservation. Money is a tool. Wealth is an attitude. Preservation is a principle. Money is a tool. Wealth is an attitude. Preservation, the principles behind it. We're going to learn those particular principles and you're going to become more wealthy. We're going to deal with your credit tonight. If you're going to get your mindset right, you have to decide tonight on the first principle. Do you know the mind of the owner? Do you know the mind of the owner? You might be thinking to yourself, and good evening, Dave, glad to have you here. You might be thinking to yourself that all the money that you make is yours. Well, the Internal Revenue Service clearly tells you that that's not true. So if the mindset isn't right, you think that the owner of the money is the boss and the government because they take theirs first. I want you to understand something. The owner of the money is not you, is not your boss, and is not your government. The owner of the money happens to be God. Now, I know some of y'all are going to flick off right about here. But the truth of the matter is, God owns it all. A cattle on 1,000 hills. Gold is his. Silver is his. The creation is his. So there's certain principles that you have to have right off the bat in order to preserve your wealth. Number one, the owner should be honored. The owner should be honored. Now, I'm just saying, J.C. Penney, back in the early 1900s, late 1800s, going into the 1900s, decided that he was going to put the principles of the Bible to the economic test. He began to apply giving 10% to God. And I'm just telling you right now, that's not even the right number, but I just want to give y'all a starting block. He said, I'm going to give 10% to God out of all the wages that I got. Didn't necessarily believe in God, just wanted to apply the biblical principle. Here's what happened when he applied the biblical principle. He was able to grow an enormous amount of savings from his labor working within a store in the men's section. He was later able to use that money to buy a store. He later went on to buy several stores, and then from Colorado all the way to New York, J.C. Penney. He put a principle to work, first honoring God with 10%. So can you imagine what the other principle was in order for him to amass the savings that allowed him to buy a store? Pay himself 10%. So have to do it, to quote Cosby, because the government comes to ordinary people first. That's right. What you need to do is be able to size up that everything that you touch, everything that you own, a portion of it granted to God first. The other portion granted to yourself. That means that you live off of 80% of your income. 80% of your income. I know some of you are saying that's impossible, Ken. I cannot live off of 80% of my income right now. And that's the mindset problem. You didn't get into your financial duress right now, you got into it over time. Here's what you got to do. Changing the mindset is in relationship to changing the direction of a ship. No great ship is turned instantly in fear that it would sink. You have to glide that ship starboard side until it gets in the direction that you want it to go and go forward. So maybe I start with 4% or 5%. 4% to God, 4% to myself. You have worked out a battle plan, a budget already. You know that 8% of your income you're not going to use because they have already been assigned to someone else. What is your income tax rate? 20%? The government has already budgeted 20% of your income for what they wish to expend. So if you say it's impossible for you to do it, how much more impossible is for government to do it? Government seems to do it well, and in fact, they're betting on you winning the horse races so greatly that they even overspend what they have projected, creating deficits. 80% of your income you live off of. So, what does that look like, Ken? If I bring home net income of $60,000 a year, net income, not saying your gross, but your net, you should be able to live off of 80% of that, which is somewhere in the area of about $48,000. So, well, it's $12,000. That's a lot of money, man. That's a lot of money. Yes, it is. It's a lot of money when you're underemployed in the Obama economy. It's a lot of money when you're able to sustain yourself for a few months while you're unemployed. It's a lot of money when someone calls you and tells you that someone in your family has passed away and we need a certain amount of money, and then you can in an emergency manner make that payment towards them. Changing the mindset means that the owner needs to be honored. First, God. Second, me. Third, everybody else. What you're saying is that $48,000 a year will be attributed to everybody else. You are better than a government program right there. So, mindset in terms of changing has to take place. Uh, the other thing is, as you saw in the Exceptional Conservative Show, Broadcast Central, the chat room area, I typed in some stuff. That $48,000 a year, when divided by 12, works out to $4,000 a month. $4,000 a month. Now, a lot of people say that's in DC. That's not a lot of money. Probably in Macon, Georgia, that's a lot of money. But $4,000 a month. What am I going to do with all that? Well, a third of it might go towards your house. which would be about $1,200. That leaves you $2,800 to work with. $2,800. Well, I got gas bill is this, and gas, gotta pay the car note or whatever. By the time you take care of that, you may have, after all your bills, the car note, and all that stuff, you may have about $400 or $500 left over. Now, most people, when they look at their financial lives, never think that they're going to have $400 or $500 a month left over. Why? Because they don't track their money. I want you to understand something. If the first principle is to honor the owner, then the second principle is be accountable. Be accountable. How can I be accountable, kid? You don't understand when I go to the ATM machine and I put my card in and I take out $200 and then I turn back and all the money's gone. I can't keep count. Then why do we ask kindergartners to count? Why do we ask politicians not to tell lies? Why do we tell the Secretary of State not to use a personal server that's sitting in someone's bathroom? Because their actions are accounted towards either success or failure. Your actions are accounted towards either success or failure. So if someone has to count with you, normally an accountant with you, regarding your expenditures and your finances, you have to then be accountable. Let me put it this way. Accountants use what to keep accounting or keep things in order? They use a ledger. And a ledger is basically how money is spent. You have to be accountable not only to yourself, if you're married, to your spouse, but if you're not married, you should find an accountability partner. Somebody who can go over the numbers with you and say, you need to do this. I see where you, okay. And then we can, and don't keep two books either. I'm talking one book. Now, there are lots of software and programs out there so that you can keep a track of how you spend your money. But when we come back, I want you to do me a great favor, because it's going to take about 2 minutes, 3 minutes, something like that before our first break. I want you to do me a favor. I want you to get a piece of paper out, and I want you to write down the amount of money that you took from the ATM machine last. And then I want you, in this next 3 to 5 minutes, write down where you spent all that money. If you can do it, you have the right mindset to move forward. If you can't, we're going to get your mindset right. You're listening to tonight's show. It's called Financial Freedom Day on the Exceptional Conserva Show. You are listening to the Exceptional One, Ken McClinton. So glad to have Dave Milner, Mary Brockman, and Mamba in the chat room. We'll be right back with more of the best in urban conservative talk. Yes, baby, we're going to get ourselves wealthy. Up in chair, up in chair, up in chair.
Have you heard the news? There's more to Prime than free. 2-day shipping on shoes. There are tons of movies ready to stream. It's like living in a film lover's dream. More to Prime. More to Prime.
I want to join. How much should I pay?
You can sign up for a free trial today. So let's sing it one more time. There's more to Prime. From From day's first light to night's last glimmer, your satisfaction is our responsibility. On the range or in the field of duty, you can rely on Brownell's lifetime guaranteed gun parts, tools, and supplies. Anytime, any place. It's how we've done business since 1939. Brownell's.
It's a love story like no other. From God's heart to yours. And for 30 years, it's been at the heart of every book, Bible, CD, gift, and resource from ChristianBook.com. Over 500,000 products, always at the very best value. ChristianBook.com. Everything Christian. Because it's our story, too.
Hi everybody, it's Kristen. I'm here to review women's spirits made by dogs. I love these shoes. I am an FM sufferer, so finding shoes that don't make my feet hurt is very tough. These don't make my feet hurt. I've tried Pumas, I've tried Nikes. Nikes are pretty good. Pumas I can't wear. They hurt my feet too much. I mean, it's to the point to where my feet hurt so bad to where I can't even walk. So I was so happy whenever I was contacted to review the new dogs. I love these dogs. I love these things. My feet don't hurt when I wear them. They got the holes in them to keep my feet cool. They got massaging bumpies inside. Feels like you're walking on little things of foam. I mean, like, it's just awesome. I just love it. The heel is a deep well down in your heel, and it protects. It's a shock absorber. So if you're running in them or jumping in them, like if you're on a chair and you have to jump in them, it absorbs the shock. What else? And then it's a higher thing back here for your heel. So it's like a really high thing that protects your ankle from when you're running, so there's no injuries, so it doesn't cause injuries. It's Velcro, so it's very easy to tighten your shoe, so whenever you're running, your shoe won't fall off when you're trying to run. I love these shoes, and I hope you guys really appreciate this review, and there will be pictures at the end, like always. But I wish you would guys go check them out. These women's spirits are $40. There's a whole bunch of other kind of shoes that you can purchase as well. There are children's shoes, toddler shoes, infant shoes, men's shoes, women's shoes. Anything you can think of, they got it. And they're pretty cool. So I hope you guys enjoy, and I will see you next time.
From coast to coast, there is one bank focused on building a better future. One bank with programs you can trust to help boost your economic picture. One United Bank. With rates better than the national average, no hidden fees, and even cashback debit cards, you'll feel the boost in your budget. One United Bank, the premier bank for urban communities in Boston, Miami, and Los Angeles. Visit us at oneunited.com or call 877-1UNITED today. Member FDIC.
Ladies and gentlemen, I want to welcome you back to the Exceptional Conservative Show. This is Freedom Day, Financial Freedom Day, that is, on the Exceptional Conservative Show. We're focusing on getting our mindset right in order to use the great tool of money and establish the principles for preservation of our actions that create wealth. Just very simple, all that kind of stuff. We've been talking about for the past few moments, in fact, the concept of honoring the owner, being accountable to yourself. If you know that you took out $300 from the ATM, you should be able to tell people where you spent that $300. $10 at the Burger King, $40 to get your hair done, $60 to get some shoes, $75 for some tool or whatever that you purchase. Right there, you have established the fact that you spent $175, something like that, there should be somewhere in your pocket a good 20 bucks or so. That's accountability. There are lots of people who become anxious and obnoxious because they don't have a plan of accountability. Now, when you're able to write down and keep record of your expenditures, that's wonderful. And there are great many tools. There are a lot of tools that you can use on this little thingy majiggy that they have. This little phone thing. Yeah. Keep a record of all your expenditures. Yeah, you can do that. But this is where being accountable matters. Do you have the oomph to be accountable? The chutzpah to be accountable? Are you willing to keep a record? And then are you willing for someone to monitor how well you're doing? Now, I'm not talking about looking over your shoulder every single moment of the day. But as a former counselor, housing counselor at least, I had clients that came into me like on a quarterly basis to sit down and go over their financial records. Not to be yelled at and criticized for what they did wrong, but to be an encouragement to them to continue the process of getting in the right direction. So many of us have heard that being accountable is difficult. It really isn't. When you have the right coach and the right chutzpah, you'll get to where you need to be in short order. So let's go to the other things that you're going to need, and then we're going to go ahead and take a look at your credit and credit report. Okay. Now, being a leader, you must be willing to serve. Too often we spend a lot of our time wondering who's going to give us something. And that way our mindset gets misconstrued when things fall off the track. So the third principle would be serving. Find some avenue of your life, some time in your life where you actually do service. I love the police officer, the police chief down in Dallas today, who told the Black Lives Matters folks that if they really wanted to make a change, that they need to pick up an application at the local police precinct and become a police officer. Learn how to serve. By serving, you take your mind off of the premise that someone owes you something and that there is a system that has to be fair. There is no fair system. There's a just system. And you can ascertain great success by not only earning your keep, but also serving those that need to be kept. Here's the fourth principle. Okay. Be a good steward over everything, no matter what it is. If it's your work environment, be the best work employee that you could possibly be. If you're home, be the best student, the best child, the best parent, the best husband, the best one. Be a good steward over everything. Always check how you're doing on everything. The mindset says, hey, whatever it is that I'm supposed to be in charge of, I need to be held accountable for, right? Wrong. All those things, whether you're in charge of it or not, you're accountable to. If you're not in charge, meaning the ultimate responsible party, then you're serving. And even the ultimate party is the ultimate servant. So, sincerely, your mindset has to be focused no longer on people doing stuff for you that you get everything they owe. Your mindset has to be on what can I do, what can I give to make life better for others. Here's the fifth one. You have to encourage other people to be just as good as you. The worst thing that can happen tonight, if you learn how to get a 700 credit score, or 720, which is where I want you to be, a 720 credit score, and everybody around you is broke, busted, and disgusted. Number one, You're not going to want to be around them because they're kind of needy. They're going to want a lot of stuff from you, and that's going to mess up your credit score. You just got there. But secondly, you don't want them there any longer either. You see, the great thing I learned about humanity is that you like to pull people up to where you are rather than pull them down from where you want to be. So the concept here is not only that you model the life that you want to see in other people, but you encourage them to model a life that, here we go. Shaniqua spent $10 on Monday for lunch. You brought your lunch from home. On Tuesday, she spent $15 for lunch and stuff at the snack tray. You brought your lunch from home. On Wednesday, she spent $20 because everybody went out. You spent $10. On Thursday, she ordered pizza for everybody, and that cost $40. You didn't get a slice because you brought your lunch. On Friday, Shaniqua comes to you and says, you know what? This is so bad. This is just a bad week and everything, and I ain't got no money, get no gas. I can't go nowhere this weekend. Can I borrow $20 from you, and that way I get... Whoa. You see, sometimes we feel like we have to do something because it's a nice thing to do. It may not be the best thing for Shaniqua at this time period. Because Shaniqua is telling you that the way she's living is financially an inconvenience to her, and now she's financially inconveniencing you. So maybe the worst thing that can happen is you give her that $20. Or that you give her that $20 without the quid pro quo that something has to come back this way. No, don't, if you're $20, then you say, no, don't worry about paying me back. Or you don't have to worry about paying me back right now. You're lying. Stop that. You have to establish the principles in the person by the way you live. You brought lunch 4 days out of the week. You didn't ask anybody for any money. And you have money left over, and everyone else knows that you do. Now, I'm not trying to tell you to be selfish. But wait a minute, you don't have to worry about that being selfish because you honored the owner first. What needs to happen here, Shaniqua has to learn that there are consequences for actions. Money is a tool. Wealth is an action. Preservation is what we're purposed to do. We're purposed to preserve for those moments when they're needed most. Ladies and gentlemen, her taking $20 to get some gas for the weekend is not purposed for anyone but Shaniqua. What you can help her with is to get her financial life together. And she doesn't have to do what you say. But as long as you have that $20 in your pocket, she's in need of you. Not just for the 20, but for the advice and the counsel. Because quite frankly, you're taking a risk on somebody who has proven that they cannot financially take care of the situations and circumstances of life. This is a very tough thing to say. And it's normally not said this way to too many people because we like to hem and haw around. But the truth of the matter is this. In order for people to get financially astute, they must learn that they have to preserve their wealth. And wealth, money is a part of that wealth. Preservation of that wealth is the process and the purpose for making it all come together. How do you pay your bills? But with pretense? With The concept that I'm going to get you, I got you next month. No, that doesn't work, because then it starts to mess up your CREDIT, your credit. So there's some things that you're going to have to learn how to do. Number one, get the mindset right of who the owner of your money is. Shaniqua's not the owner of your money. God is. And if it doesn't fit the budget, because you, number two, are being accountable, if it doesn't fit your budget for funds in which you can lord out or hand out without the expectation of a return on investment, then don't do it. Number three, is it really serving her to continue her actions which don't preserve her wealth or yours? Probably not. That's not good service. Your job is to be a good servant. Not a slave, but a servant. Number four, you have to be a steward over everything, even your workplace. Let me tell you what's going to happen in that workplace in about 3 weeks when Shaniqua doesn't give you back your $20. Okay? And she come in there with her hair done did it, her nails done did it, and she ain't eating no lunch brought from home, and she order out $50 for pizza for everybody, okay, and she continues that process. What's going to happen with your mindset towards Shaniqua? Now, you see, all that giving stuff, all that making you feel guilty to give to somebody, it ain't going to work 3 weeks later when you're expecting Shaniqua to give you $20 because everybody got paid this week and she hasn't stopped past your desk. You're going to be mad. You're going to be frustrated. And it's going to show up in your work and your attitude towards her. Wait a minute, are we being a good steward? Are you supposed to lose who you are in him because you lost what you gave her? That doesn't sound good. You have to develop in Shaniqua the attitude of what it's going to take to get to a point where she doesn't have to ask anybody for money. Not unless she has to or needs to. Ladies and gentlemen, those are the 5 conditions in terms of being a good steward. If you do those 5 things, then doing the next things regarding your credit are going to be very easy. Let's talk about your credit, for instance. A lot of people are under the assumption that when they're in the college dorm or whatever and walking through the gardens of the college, there's a guy out there who's getting you to fill out a form so that you can get a new credit card. Congratulations, you got a new credit card. And that's absolutely wonderful. It's the greatest thing since Swiss cheese until you can't make the payments. Let's see this for a second, because I've seen it in my lifetime. Imagine if you had $10,000 of credit debt, credit card debt. Just $10,000. And you were, because, I mean, it's easier to spend credit card money than to, pay for it yourself. I mean, how many people, when you take them out to dinner, break out their wallet and pull out cash? Not too many people, because the convenience of the matter is, if I pull out a card, here you go, Larry. Put it on the card. Yeah, don't worry about it. I'll pay it at the end of the month. And if financial situations don't work out because you loaned some money to Shaniqua never paid you back, you're mad with Shaniqua at work, you don't want to talk with her, you don't even hand her paperwork anymore, it's beginning to show up on your tick that, guess what? People look at you because you got a bad attitude, all of a sudden, oh, wait a minute. So all of a sudden, all those dinners out and clothes, because you got to look good when you go to work. When you're sitting on the back of the bus, you want to look like the best person sitting on the back of the bus. Okay? You don't want nobody stepping on your Gucci's or nothing on that. You want to look good at it. When you go places, you want to look good at it, and then you got to spend all that money on your $300 for a hairstyle. Put it on the card. It's kind of like a casino kind of mentality. Don't worry about the. What do you want? Put it on the card. Well, you get to the $10,000 mark now, and it's getting kind of tight. I know, Mary, it's a lot of money, but most of the people that I dealt with, it's not. For them, they got cards, and you should see their student loans. They got cards, and it's like everything card. If you paid the 2% minimum that most credit card companies require, or that $10,000, you would pay interest of $26,825 on that $10,000 card. That means that you would literally be paying back $36,825, and it would take you 48 years to pay it off. 48 years to pay it off. I want y'all to know something. Mrs. Biggs and I, a lot of people wonder, how come y'all get to travel places and do stuff and everything else or whatever? It's because we haven't maxed out any of our cards. In fact, we have one card. I'm not telling you to do this. It's telling you what we do. It's my wife's card. We use it when it's emergency, when it's necessary. Other than that, whenever we use it, we pay the whole thing off at the end of the month. Done. Because we're not going to spend $30,000 on something that we get nothing out of. I don't get anything out of paying someone interest. I don't get anything at all out of that. So here's the mindset that you have to have regarding your credit cards. Okay? Your credit card should essentially be used as an emergency tool, just like money, an emergency tool to help you or to accommodate you in a condition or circumstance or situation. Literally. Car breaks down on the side of the road. Okay? You don't have an ATM in your pocket, so the card is essential. You get a phone call that says, hey, we need you to come to Chicago because, family's having some issues, whatever. You may have to use your credit card to get a ticket or whatever to go to Chicago and come back. That's what it was for. So literally, your credit card was not intended for you to use as a convenience tool. It was intended for you to use as a tool of emergency. When cash wasn't available, the credit card was essential. We have that thing all switched around now, and many of us are carrying tons of debt with us that we don't and should not need. So, what is a credit card? A credit card is simply an agreement between you and a private agency to pay back a temporary loan at an agreed amount of interest for a specified term. It may be eternal, it may be 5 years, it may be by 30 days, Amex, American Express. But that's the requirement. So on that credit card, there's an expectation of payback. In addition to that, there might be some fees and some other items that are added to that. So, Kim, what you're saying tonight is don't get a credit card. No, that's not what I'm saying tonight, because I'm urging you to get a secured credit card tonight if you're having issues with reestablishing your credit. I got a phone call earlier this day from someone who told me that they were successful in getting their card and they were excited. And so I'm very proud of that party. Congratulations to you. That person's working on getting their credit together. You can easily do that by going to the front page of the Exceptional Conservative Show and clicking on the Unity Visa card, and then all the specifics and parameters are there for you to discern and review. But it's a secure card, which means that you have to put some money behind it and pay back as you use it. Well, how do I know I have good credit, Ken? Well, here's a very good indication of if you have good credit. Number one, if your score is 800 or greater, because you can only get a score between 300 and 850 on FICO. If your score is 800 or better, you're excellent. Congratulations. Wonderful job. That's where you need to be. If your score is between 700 and 799, congratulations, you have very good credit. And in fact, to get a conventional mortgage, you need a credit score of 720. Good credit, and I'm going to put this in the chat room because a lot of people have a very poor idea of what good credit is. And that's because they've been trained the wrong way or listened to some people's counsel or whatever. And be careful when it comes to money. You don't want everybody giving you good counsel. Winkety wink. Okay? A good credit score is between 680 and 699. 680 and 699. Now, I know some of you all are going to yell back at me through the radio and everything, but Ken, see, you wrong, Ken. You don't know what you're talking about. My mama was able to get a house back in 2004. She got a house and her credit score was 590. See, you don't know what you're talking about. I want you to know something. Back in 2004, I was a lot younger looking. Things change over time. We went through a housing bubble back in 2008, 2009, actually 2007 to 2009, and virtually we're still trying to recover from that housing bubble. Back in that particular time period, you only needed a pulse to get a mortgage. You didn't even need papers that show that you worked. Credit scoring was not unless you were getting a government financed mortgage. Everything else was bip, bap, boom, sign a paper, done. You have a house. But as a result of that, changes have been made in the housing marketplace where you can no longer just zip, zap, zoom, get a house. Your credit score has to be very good. And guess what, Mary? By the time the end of the year comes, your credit score is going to be Donald Trump level credit score. There you go. Don't worry about it. So, ladies and gentlemen, 680 to 699 is where you need to be if you want to be in control of your financial life. Anything above 680, you can be the shot caller. And in fact, anything above 720 is perfectly set for you to be the shot caller at most of the banking institutions around the country. If you have a credit score of 620 to 679, you have a fair credit score. It's fair. It's good. It's fair. Now here we get into poor credit. If you have a credit score between 580 and 619, you have a poor credit score. If you have a credit score between 500 and 579, you have a bad credit score. And if you have a credit score of 499 and lower, you have a piss poor credit score. So I suppose at this particular point you're saying, hey, it's no sense me listening to the rest of this show. I already know what my credit score is. It's bad. I got news for you, ladies and gentlemen. We can work together over the next few months to get your credit score out of that 499 range into the 720 range. and you don't have to pay anyone to do it. Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to Financial Freedom Night, or actually Financial Freedom Day, on the Exception Conservative Show. When we come back, I'm going to finish off talking with you about reestablishing your credit, getting your credit score in the right direction, and getting you financially better today and tomorrow. It's just that simple. If you want freedom, if you want liberty, if you want to be able to get out of your car tomorrow and not worry about where you parked it, keep listening. We're going to do something well for you. You're listening tonight to the Exception Conservative Show. We will be right back with more of the best in urban conservative talk. Yeah, see, you ain't going to get this any other place, I'm telling you. They ain't going to talk about it like this. I want to thank also SHR Media, High Plains Pundit Media, and Red Nation Rising.
We have Kona Coffee. We have 100% Kona Coffee.
You know, Kona Coffee is a wonderful place. In Hillcrest, there are many places that offer coffee. But Kona has some of the best quality coffee that I have consistently been able to receive.
I actually used to work at Starbucks, and I don't like it. I love Kona compared to Starbucks, just because the Starbucks espresso is always a little burnt, and the Kona is really smooth.
It's not over roasted. We roast it daily, so we can keep it so fresh.
It's delicious. It's very creamy. I'm trying a chai latte.
Our Kona blend is amazing. It's a 35% Kona.
This is the flavored one. They use like oils to flavor it, so you don't get like all that sugar. If you're especially like if you're looking to be more healthy.
It's amazing. I come every morning that I have to work and get their acai bowl, and it's phenomenal.
An acai bowl is a Brazilian berry. It's really healthy meal. Could be a breakfast, lunch, or dinner.
Refreshing, and it comes with fresh bananas and strawberries and granola and coconut, and they're amazing.
It's better because they do know you. So if you walk in and you can have a conversation on like Starbucks, they're kind of whatever.
They're always so friendly. They're always really nice. Even when you see them around the area, they always stop and say hi to you.
They treat you like neighbors, which is really nice.
4 out of 5 doctors prefer Kona coffee.
Let's see what that would have been like if Glenn were watching this on Vicky.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
With TV shows and movies from across the globe, Vicky is fun in any language.
No translation for that.
Well, welcome to Freedom Fest 2015. I think this is the best Freedom Fest we've ever put together.
Freedom Fest is truly international. There's people from all over the world that come to Freedom Fest, not just to talk, but also to participate in dialogue, participate in the panels, to participate in the audience.
So hold your breath, lock your seatbelts. I hope you're at your Wheaties today.
We are enslaved by government mandates. What light bulb you can buy, what car you can drive, how you heat and cool your home, to what health insurance.
Europe actually has allowed itself to be held hostage of this entire Greek situation.
They have the courage to do debates. So you have debates on foreign policy, on taxes, on what's going on in the world, on how to invest and how to run your own life.
Here's an example of restaurants. Don't open a restaurant because it's so competitive you'll never make any money. Really? I mean, been to Chipotle lately?
How many believe that Peter Thiel won the argument competition is overrated in America? And how many favor John Mackey's response?
So here's the moment many of you have been waiting for, myself included, and I think it's the reason why this room is completely packed all the way to the back as far as I can see.
I think I worked about 8 years to put together this debate, I have to say it's really kind of depressing to see people holding up the Reagan story, which is so obviously different if you pay any attention to the story, as that's the best argument. Really, that's the best argument.
And the middle class and the poor are the people you say you care most about, are the people who've been hurt the most by these policies because they've had no income growth at all.
Thank you. They already left 2 waters for me. I'll probably only need 1. So I appreciate it.
In America today, higher education is controlled by a cartel. And they say, oh, let's take out a loan and pay for this. And no one bothers to tell them that the market for Greek philosophers has been tight for 2,000 years.
So in terms of its 2 major policy objectives, stable prices in a stable economy, the Fed has clearly failed.
And if the Federal Reserve actually did the right thing, the market would crash.
Every country in the world has a lower corporate tax rate than us. Can we fix that?
This, in my view, is the premier libertarian event in the country.
You probably meet the largest cross-section of philosophically based groups of any conference anywhere in the world.
Some of the smartest people in our country come together here to discuss the ideas and challenges. This is an engaged group of individuals.
This is all about the mind. It's not about how fancy you are.
Feisty discussions, interesting people to meet.
I love it. This is my first time doing anything like this. It's not gonna be well last.
It's the only place you get this many people who agree with me. Nobody, I live in New York. Nobody agrees with me.
You know, war is not the health of the state. War is the death of liberty and freedom. And that's a mentality that is particularly strong in the Republican Party, but it's also strong in the Democratic Party.
I want government to be this small. I want the individual to be this big.
We are people when we are at our greatest that we lead by example. We don't jam it down anybody's throat. We don't force them to live our way. We don't nation build.
Very interesting. There's a lot of variety of stuff. Really.
Hear ye, hear ye. Freedom Fest Court is now in session.
We are gathered here in this great sovereign state of Nevada to decide the fate of the country's central bank, the Federal Reserve.
Please place your hand on this edition of Forbes 400 Richest.
Of the bubble in many markets, and that's simply mathematically impossible without the Fed creating the money to make it happen.
The Fed is guilty, 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 guilty. Court is now adjourned. God bless America, and may you always ride on the eagle of freedom. Hallelujah, and good night.
I'm Joanne Skousen. I'm the founding director of the Anthem Film Festival, and we are in our 5th year. We started in a little room on the 26th floor at Bally's, and now we've grown to huge numbers. In fact, we have a fabulous lineup of short.
Police officers can wear a body camera, but you as a citizen may not have access to that footage.
Live from Las Vegas.
We recognize that Freedom Fest is a big tent.
Well, I happen to like Rand Paul. I really do. By the way, in some cases, they'll build a new hospital for $1.5 billion. You could build 7 hospitals, 10 hospitals for that if you knew what you were doing.
We had almost 300 speakers.
Without a doubt, our most successful Freedom Fest ever.
And I just adore the experience. It's like a saturation of the senses, a saturation of the mind. I learned so much. I come home with way too many books. I adore Freedom Fest. I'm definitely going back again next year.
I can't wait for Freedom Fest. Wednesday, we will be in Las Vegas for Freedom Fest. There's still time for you to register and to join us. Welcome to the second half of the Exceptional Conservative Show. I'm yours truly, the Exceptional One, Ken McClinton. This is Financial Freedom Day. And I'm excited because, gosh darn it, we get to leave in a little bit. In fact, on Wednesday, we will be going to Las Vegas, Mrs. Biggs and I. And we are very, very excited about joining Sackhead Sean, Sackhead Clint, Free Sacco, also Dr. Michael Jones, the underground professor. And am I leaving anyone else out? Prayerfully, Jersey Joe will be there. I'm love to see Jersey again, and so many others. Gosh darn it, it's going to be wonderful. And I'm so glad that everybody will get a chance to come by, say hello. George Foreman will be speaking on Friday, so that's going to be awesome and wonderful. It's just going to be a very, very great time. I'm looking forward to it. Thank you, Dave, for saying that the first hour was a great hour. I hope that this next hour is just as good, as we are talking about financial freedom, how to become financially free, how to get your credit together. It's basically what we're talking about. And for those who are following along at home, I would encourage you in this particular hour to go to the front page of the Exceptional Conservative Show and click on the Unity, yes, the Unity Visa little wiggity, little thingy-majiggity, the little picture there, Unity Visa. It is a part of One United Bank. And I recommend it highly in this regard, that you are reestablishing your credit. It's a secure credit card. I believe the interest rate is like 17.99%. There is an annual fee to it. However, in terms of reestablishing your credit, it's a very good tool to do that. $250 starts it up. And it reports to all 3 other credit bureaus. Why is getting your credit all together? For some people, I mean, I understand you don't have to do anything. You've done everything. That's fine. That's wonderful. But there's some people out there who have to get cars, who have to get houses. And basically, some people have filed bankruptcy. It's not as easy as it used to be to file bankruptcy. I mean, it used to be you could walk into a lawyer's office, hand him $499.99, and then in about 30 days, start your whole financial life all over again. They only have maybe about $2,000 or $3,000 worth of debt. It's not that simple anymore. And because it's not that simple anymore, we have moved to a time period where, out of the complexity of nature, guess what? We're going to have to learn how to manage our financial lives. And I know you've heard all the stories, and you get one of the greatest things in the world is you get counsel from everybody. It may not necessarily be the best counsel. Sometimes the worst counsel leaves us in such a shape where we're so anxious that we can't do all the right things that we need to do. So I'm going to tell you all right now, if you have about $8,000, $9,000 worth of debt and you're thinking about bankruptcy, please don't think about that anymore. Let's learn how to face our giants. Allow God to open our eyes so that we can see that we can have conquest over that which we used to think was giants, now are just ordinary things. I'm going to go back real quick because my wife, Mrs. Biggs, pointed out that I did not summarize at the conclusion of the last hour, so let me summarize here. The first part of the program is talking about getting your financial mindset right. If your mind ain't right, ain't nothing else I got to say this evening going to help you. It's your mindset. You got to be purposed to do this. You have to want to do this. I mean, deep, deep in your heart. I know there's some people that say, hey, I want to get my financial life together. But they're really looking for someone to stamp something for them or send off a letter so that their creditors won't call them anymore and stuff like that. And then they'll go out and go shop again. And I'm talking about getting your mindset pumped and ready to be financially free. That's what I'm talking about. So one of the first reps in getting your mindset right is know who owns it. You own the house, you don't own the bank. God owns it all. When you begin to think this way, that the boss isn't my owner, that the bank isn't my owner, that God is really my owner, and everything that he has belongs. Once you have that mindset together, everything else is going to start clicking. Secondly, be accountable. Account for your wealth. When you're in the casino and you're playing blackjack and they got the chips there, don't you count your chips? Or do you depend on someone handing you the chips and telling you what it is? No, you don't. Not that I play. Trust me, don't play. I don't have the right attitude to lose money. I just don't. I really don't. You got to have the right attitude to lose money. I don't have it. So literally, Be accountable. Keep a record of your stuff, because the casinos do. Serve. Learn how to serve so that you don't have to always focus on being served. Being served means that you're going to lose a whole lot more than you ever gain. Serving means that you will always have much more than you ever need. Number 4, be a steward over everything. You are responsible for stewardship over everything. Your job, your house, your family, yourself. Be a good steward over everything. And then lastly, model and inspire for others. Model and inspire for others. Listen, my wife and I go through tough financial times too, just like everybody else. But our relationship with God makes it easier for us to model for others how to go through that storm. People don't believe it, but it's true. As I'm making my transition in my life or whatever, I went months without being paid on my primary job. Did you ever once hear me come on the air and tell you any of that? No. Because my wife and I had worked it out, we had planned it out, just in case something happens, we're going to make it. And listen, if you look at me, I've never missed a meal. God always provided everything that I needed. So we always learned in the last hour where you should be focused on getting to. If your credit score is 499, you should be focused on getting to 579. From very bad to bad. If you're at 579, you should be focused on getting to 619. From bad to poor. If you're at 619, you should be focused on getting to 679. From poor to fair. From 679 to 699, from fair to good, from 699 to 799, from good to very good, and then from 799 to 850, excellent. Let me tell you the difference. You all see the commercial about the lady who's seen her FICO score, and it's very true. When you walk into the bank, bless you, and you walk into the bank and you have a 580 credit score, most people are like, well, whatever the bank can do for me, if you would please help me out with anything you can do for me. That's that kind of stop that. When you walk into the bank with a 720, you'll be sitting up in that junk, be like, okay, I got 720, right? What's your interest rate? Oh man, I could go down the street and get a better interest rate than that. What fees? Oh nah, man, 0 point interest rate, man. You can kick back and relax because you become the shot caller. For too many of us, most of our lives we spent being graciously given by those who have such influence. But when you become the shot caller, all of a sudden, those reps that you've been, all of a sudden, things begin to look different for you. You don't mind going to your bank and telling them, you know what, I can go down the street and I'll take all my money with me. Shot call. That's what I'm talking about. So how do we get to that point? Well, number one, you have to learn how to check your credit score. Now, I know a lot of people will tell you that you should go to each of the credit bureaus. TransUnion, Equifax, Experian. You should write each of them and ask them to send you their free credit report. And if you're in such a position where you have to do that, that's wonderful. Do that. Okay. But there are lots of places that you can go to that offer credit counseling through the Department of Housing and Urban Development, HUD. These are free places that you can go to. And normally for a very, very reasonable cost, maybe $14, maybe $20, maybe $25. Some of them will freely give you a credit report. You can get a tri-merge please write this term down. I'm putting it in that chat roll for everybody. I have all these geniuses in the chat roll tonight, so if you want to join the geniuses, please do. But you want to get a tri-merge credit report. Tri-merge. That means Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion are all on the same credit report. You can see every Tom, Dick, and Harry that was on that credit report. Everything. It'll be like candlelight in the midst of open darkness. So check your credit score. That's the first thing. Now, a lot of people, I don't want to pull my credit report because my score might go down. Okay, let me just tell you the difference between your score going, and in fact, let me just put it this way. If your score goes down because you pulled your credit report and it's so dangerous in doing so, you need to go back to the first hour of our program because you really haven't learned anything. If your credit score can be reduced from bad to pull because you pulled a credit report, it ain't because you pulled the credit report that your credit's bad. It's because of stuff that you've done to it. Okay? So let's get up off that gambit right there. Let's go to the fact that there are such things as a hard pull in the industry and a soft pull in the industry. A hard pull in the industry is when that car dealer runs your credit through 18 to 40 banks trying to find the deal for you. Your credit score will go from that 720 to that 599 in just that one weekend because he's forwarded out. Those are hard hits from every bank and institution trying to do your deal. That's why you need to have your finances together before you go buy a car. But that's for a different show. It's when you go to the mall and Macy's wants to give you a card, and Lane Bryant wants to give you a card, and Sears wants to give you a card, and Home Depot wants to give, and all of them are pulling credit reports from you. Those are hard hits. When you're going to look for a credit card, and you're applying to different places, Capital One, and so many other places, those are hard hits because they're looking at your credit scoring. But here's a soft hit, which means it's not going to lower your score too greatly. Very minuscule. When a nonprofit entity pulls your credit report to help you with credit repair. Now, if that nonprofit's pull brings you down from bad to very bad, it's not the nonprofit's fault. It's not that big a hit. Something's wrong with your financial life. You have to own up to it. So, number one, take a look at your tri-merge credit report. And tri-merge is Equifax, Experian, TransUnion. Pulling all three at the same time on one will allow you, and we're going to talk about that in our next Financial Freedom Show. I'm going to ask that all my listeners go out and pull their credit report. And I'm not talking about credit monitoring because y'all getting really snatched up on that kind of thing. You ever see the commercial about credit monitoring when the security guard is just standing there while they're robbing the bank? And he's just telling, yeah, a robbery's going on. I can't do anything. I'm not stopping it. I'm just letting you know the robbery. Okay, don't get sized up on the credit monitoring thing. What you should focus on is that once a year pull to find out what's on your credit file. So the next show that we do in the next 2 weeks, next 2 Mondays, we're going to talk about pulling your credit report and taking a look at it and getting it in right order. All right? We're going to actually go through a credit report. Yes. And we're going to work on getting it right. Number 2, co-signing for people. Stop it. Don't you ever co-sign for anybody. First, it's not biblical. Scripture says don't co-sign for folks. But secondly, even if it's your kids, the one that you love, the one that massages your ashy feet and kisses you on the forehead before you go to bed, even that one, don't co-sign for any loan outside of your husband-wife situation, okay? And if your husband-wife situation is all messed up, don't co-sign either there. If you open up a co-signed account and the other party doesn't make the payment, even though you're secondary on the loan, you're going to have to pay it. And if you don't pay it on time, your credit gets hit. Bam! It's like watching a truck hit a beetle. Number 3, paying off credit at first will lower your debt and lower your credit score. But within 45 days, you will see your credit scores adjusted accordingly. Why is that? Well, you've just eliminated a debt. And they've been using an algorithm to say that, hey, that money was counted in, you're paying it on what time or whatever, you paid it off, all of it, well, it'll go down, well, because now you don't have as much debt, and that's how we do our algorithms, but then it'll pop back. There's some people that believe that all credit scores are the same. They are not the same. They don't report at the same time. I want you all to know something. My wife asked me, and now I've moved. No, I know where I moved it to. Here we go. Did I put it in here? I think I put it in here. Oh, yep, here it is. All right. People treat their credit reports as if they're a movie. Okay? And it's always going to be this way. It's going to always be the Titanic. It's always going to be the Godfather. It's a long movie. It's just always going to be broke, busted, and disgusted. No, that's not the case at all. In fact, your credit report is like a camera. Snapshot. Your credit report tells you exactly where you are at this moment in your credit history. It does not mean you will always be that way. So it may be Experian reports on the 1st, Equifax on the 15th, and TransUnion on the 30th. And that's how they report out. So the scoring is a little different. But guess what? The scoring will always be different. It's like a little rhythm. It's always going up and down in certain directions. So, ladies and gentlemen, don't get phased as if it's a movie and will always be that way. It's not. It's a snapshot. So when they say that your credit score for Equifax is 590 and 640 for Experian and 625 for TransUnion, and they always look at the middle score, which would be 625, it does not mean that's always going to be the case. Tomorrow it may be different. 3 months from now it may be different. So take it as a grain of salt that this is where I am today on the map of life. I'm going to be moving forward. So all credit scores are not the same at the same time. Now, there's this ruling that people have in our communities that, and you get this at the salon, good advice. They say, girl, you need to go ahead and close out all those bad accounts, close them out, just close them out. Because it's going to make your score go up. No, it doesn't. It doesn't. Okay? It doesn't. It cleans up your credit file, though. It makes it look smaller and shorter. But it doesn't make your credit score go up. And guess what? It doesn't make it go down either. It doesn't make a difference. But I would tell you, go ahead and clean up your credit file. Number 6, paying off a debt, bad debt, erases it from your credit report. No, it doesn't erase it from the credit report. Just because you paid it off doesn't mean it's going anywhere. I will show you the next time we conversate on money what you must do to ask them to remove things from your credit report. And you don't have to pay people to do it. It will be absolutely free. I will show you how to do it. And in fact, I'm going to recommend to some of you all who are listening to this that you begin planning on getting your credit life together by getting your credit report and coming to the next Financial Freedom Day that the Exceptional Conservative Show has, which will be in the next couple of weeks. We're going to do it in the next couple of weeks. I'm going to tell you that right now. Lastly, your age and marital status and race make a difference? They do not. How your character, how you pay your bills makes all the difference. Paying on time accounts for 30% of your credit score. In addition to that, if Home Depot said we're going to give you $5,000 to use, they're expecting you to use no more than 30% of that $5,000. So when they say we're going to let you have $5,000 for a credit card, they won't want you to go over $1,500. Once you go over $1,500 on your credit report, you get hit up 35% against your credit score. Just those two items alone account for the majority of your credit score. So what do? Don't max out your credit cards. Only use 30% of what's been approved. And in finality, pay your stuff on time. On the next show, I will tell you exactly what on time means, because it doesn't mean what you think it means. Hope that this has been helpful to you, and I hope that you invite others back, and I hope that you take some time out today. If you know that you're in a credit situation that's going to help you, that needs help to move from being poor to good or very good, going over to our front page of the Exceptional Conservative Show and click on the Unity Visa card and register today for your Unity Visa card. Doing so and funding it and using your secure card will help you improve your credit scores. It will indeed. We'll be right back with more of the best in urban conservative talk. Guess what? I have an essay. Yes, I want to share.
Now, Brownells, we know you may have only one shot to harvest that trophy, so we have thousands of accessories and replacement parts to improve your chances. We know how much you love to shoot, so our gunsmiths articles and videos will help you do more and get more out of your guns. We also value your hard work and money. That's why only Brownells backs up everything we sell with a 100% unconditional lifetime guarantee. Brownells, the world's largest supplier of firearm accessories and gunsmithing tools.
In a world controlled by corrupt politicians,
You got a business. You didn't build that.
a team of ordinary men emerge from the ashes to give voice to the voiceless and hope to the hopeless. Sackhead Sean.
Dude, I'm not saying Catholic is stupid.
Sackhead Clint.
All good friends of ours usually show up drunk.
Also starring Socko as the producer.
I'm a little bit drunk, I'm a little bit drunk, 'cause I'm drinking, drinking, drinking.
They are the Sackheads Radio Show. Every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Pacific on shrmedia.com.
Times are dark. The people are misled by corrupt politicians, lied to by establishment media, and deceived by the false messages of Islam. A nation looking for direction needs a guide. It needs a man with a cane. I'm Dave Milner. Join me on Spreaker, SHR Media, Pundit Press, Live Rebooting Liberty, and YouTube for a unique brand of commentary on the unpleasant blind guy. Because the truth is not always pleasant.
Hey, it's Jersey Joe from the Reaver, Common Sense. You can catch me every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on shrmedia.com. That's every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, shrmedia.com.
At lawdepot.com, we decided to compare one of our easy-to-use online legal contracts against one prepared by a private lawyer. Sort of a lawyer taste test. We wanted to show how you could save hundreds of dollars on quality legal products, from wills to business starter packages. Unfortunately, the consultants misunderstood what we meant by taste test.
Needs more sauce.
Objection! Overruled. LawDepot.com. Trusted do-it-yourself legal.
It's a love story like no other. From God's heart to yours. And for 30 years, it's been at the heart of every book, Bible, CD, gift, and resource from ChristianBook.com. Over 500,000 products, always at the very best value. ChristianBook.com. Everything Christian, because it's our story too.
From coast to coast, there is one bank focused on building a better future. One bank with programs you can trust to help boost your economic picture. One United Bank, with rates better than the national average, no hidden fees, and even cashback debit cards. You'll feel the boost in your budget. One United Bank, the premier bank for urban communities in Boston, Miami, and Los Angeles. Visit us at oneunited.com or call 877-1UNITED today. Member.
Yes. White Mamba's in the chat roll at the Exceptional Conservative Show, hitting us with some real nuggets of gold, brother. Another tip that worked for me when my grants and loans came in for the semester, I'd pay off all my rent, put a huge amount of money into utilities, phone, liberating to not have any monthly bills for the semester and live off the remainder plus work earnings. There you go, man. White Mamba. Awesome. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to welcome you back to the Exceptional Conservative Show. What a day this has been for the Exceptional One. I hope the first hour and a half of our program was helpful to you, because I really want to see, people have this idea that all Republicans are wealthy, like multi-billionaires, and that we all are swimming in lakes of gold coins, like Scrooge McDuck. It's just not real. It's just not real. But likened unto many in other political parties, there are those who are suffering in the Republican Party financially as well. And so rather than to perpetrate a fraud, listen, if we can help each other out and be more wealthy, we'll be more content. More content people overcome the world. I just assure you that. So I want y'all to stay tuned. We're going to be doing some very unorthodox types of shows for the rest of the year. Which if you've been listening to the Exceptional Conservative Show all this time, you know that's what I do. Unorthodox. Hey, I can't help it. It's a thing I do. Oh man, White Mama. Mary listens to Dave Ramsey. I am just so proud of you, Mary. Mary says, better yet, like Dave Ramsey says, his credit report states that he is dead. That is how little he uses any form of credit. That is good credit in my book, Mary. Sorry, that's White Mamba said that. Mary said, I paid off my credit cards following Ramsey's advice. There you go. So Dave Ramsey is a great, not only theoretician, but a great practitioner of good counsel. And for those of you who are at home tonight and you're listening to this show and you're saying, well, I'm hungry for more. I'm interested in what you said, Ken. I'm going to go find a organization that works with the Department of Housing and Urban Development. In fact, I'm going to put in the chat roll the HUD-approved housing counselors list you can go to around the country. I'm advising that you choose from this particular listing, and that way you can get your report. Man, you do got nuggets, man. I know you would buy some pounds right about now. A lot of whatever the world is telling you not to do, you should do. Okay, so for those of you who want, you can go to HUD.gov /offices /HSG /SFH /HCC /HCS.CFM. I am so sorry, I got the hiccups. Just as I was doing something very important. Or just go type in Department of Housing and Community Development. I'm sorry, Department of Housing and Urban Development, HUD Housing Counselors. Just type in HUD Housing Counselors at Google. It will pop up. You can get in contact with any of those housing counselors in those regions. They will give you a very, very good price on getting a credit report. It will not be expensive as your bank or your mortgage company or any other lender. It'd be reasonable for you to ascertain. And once you get that on the show in the next couple of weeks, and it probably 2 Mondays from now. What is 2 Mondays from now? Where is the 25th? Okay, the 25th of July will be the next Financial Freedom Day on the Exceptional Conserva Show. I'm going to put that in my calendar. The 25th of July will be the next Financial Freedom Day. We will talk about your actual credit report. I want everybody to go out, get your credit report. And I'm going to remind everybody, every show, get your credit report. Because when we come back, we're going to sit down, we're going to review your credit report. You're going to do all the hard work by taking a look at it. I'm just going to do all the easy stuff by telling you what you can do to improve it. And also, by the end of that show, you're going to be writing a letter to your credit bureaus asking them to replace or repair your credit file. And I'll show you exactly how to do it. And in about 30 or 45 days, you should see an improvement in your credit scores. And I hope that you like that. I really do. Ladies and gentlemen, tough day today. Twitter said I was a bad guy, so they put me in Twitter prison. I am in Twitter prison, and I've been there on some of my sites for a while. And that's cool. I'm all right with that. I just wish they were unsuspended so I could just delete my file completely and never go back to Twitter. Because that's the kind of guy I am. You don't want me, I don't want to be with you. That's just the kind of guy I am. And once I've made up my mind, I don't like going back. I really don't. Not for any reason. Once gone, gone. So, ladies and gentlemen, went into Twitter prison today, and you might want to know why, Ken. What evil thing did you do to Twitter? Because that's the kind of guy I am too. I will be broadcasting on Wednesday, but only for a short period of time because I would have just gotten to Las Vegas. Yes, again, Mary. Yes, Dave, again. Good. Mamba is putting in more information about the FACT Act. Good. Once every 12 months. Thank you very much. Thanks for putting that in there for the FAIR Act. Ladies and gentlemen, one of the reasons why I was put into Twitter prison population, the penal code I broke, was what I wrote recently. On Sunday, in fact, released it. And it's been a huge hit. Wow. Reaver Common Sense picked it up. High Plains Pundit picked it up. Oh my God, it's been picked up by several other sites or whatever. Conservative. In fact, it would do me a great disservice if I did not read to you what this conservative blog said about the um, actual writing. Okay, and let me just get that right there. You're listening to the Exceptional Conservative Show live from the nation's capital. I am the Exceptional One, Kim McClinton. In the chat role is Miss Mary Brockman, who is my bouncer. If you diss her, you diss me, and you will be dismissed from the program. And Mrs. Biggs is watching via live stream and Ustream, and making certain I'm on my Q's and T's and crossing them and dotting I's when it comes to doing this credit counseling thing over the air. So thank you so much, dear. Norma J. Sears commented on your editorial, The Insurrection Under Democrat Leadership, Domestic and Foreign, on the Constitutional Conservative. So if you ever want to go to a great site, go to 912communique.com. COMMUNIQUE.com. 912COMMUNIQUE.com. That's the actual Constitutional Conservatives page. And she says, agreed, Susie. He has managed to put into words what many of us believe but could not express. So it has been a very, very powerful testimony against the Democrat leadership, and as such, well, gosh darn it, I suffer. One of which I'll give you one other example, and then I want to read to you the essay. I joined this organization because I was invited to, called Black Studies and Critical Thinking. And I was invited in this morning, and I was appreciative of the fact, so I put my essay in there since I thought these were black people who believed in critical thinking. 2 hours after I had put the actual essay into their Facebook page, they deleted the essay. I deleted them. And this is a problem with critical thinking in urban America. Critical thinking is not education-based, meaning that we hear different facts and we compare them and then analyze them and then come to a conclusion on solutions. Critical thinking in Black America is, I'm black, you believe what I believe, or else you're a racist. That's critical thinking, which tells you how dumb it really is. The insurrection under Democrat leadership, domestic and foreign terrorism flourishes, and rule of law perishes. In Washington, D.C., Mayor Muriel Bowser and Police Chief Kathy Lanier lay a wreath at the National Law Enforcement Officers Memorial. I suppose just another planned activity among the political and civil elites' daily calendar. Yet it's a baseless supposition. The memorial in Washington, D.C. at Judiciary Square honors 20,267 U.S. law enforcement officers who have died in the line of duty throughout history. On Friday morning, 5 more names were added. Brent Thompson, a 43-year-old transit officer. Patrick Zamaripa, a 32-year-old police officer who served 3 tours in Iraq with the U.S. military. Michael Kroll, a 40-year-old officer who joined the Dallas Police in 2008. Lauren Aarons, a former semi-pro football player and 14-year veteran of the Dallas Police. And Michael Smith, a father of 2, who liked to give stickers to the children at his church. Why were they added? They were assassinated during an insurrection in Dallas, Texas. You won't hear anyone else in urban or conservative talk say what I just said. They won't. And if you hear Michael Savage say it tomorrow, you know where he got it from. They were assassinated during the insurrection in Dallas, Texas. Who shielded the assassin? Black Lives Matter's virulent and fervent protests against law enforcement officers provided the perfect cover for the hate-filled assassin. Throughout the country, the condemnation of police as white racist psychopaths seeking to practice genocide on black males erupted. The racial stoking led many to support the assassinations of police officers, not just in Dallas, but around the country. Quote, next time a group wants to organize a police shoot, do like Dallas tonight, but have extra men, women to flank the pigs. added another. Dude, hell yeah, someone is shooting pigs in Dallas. Solidarity, commented another user. Dallas, keep smoking them pigs. Keep up the work, remarked another. Who led the protests? Long gone are the days of Jesse Jackson and Al Sharpton radically taking it to the streets. The progressive media's favorite race-baiting organization du jour is Black Lives Matter, an organization opposing state-protected violence against the poor and minorities. Quote, when we say Black Lives Matter, we are broadening the conversation around state violence to include all the ways in which black people are intentionally left powerless at the hands of the state. We are talking about the ways in which black lives are deprived of our basic human rights and dignity. I want you to know, this is how liberals think. Black on black crime is caused by socioeconomic disadvantage. White on black crime, that's racism. But it's racist to mention black on white crime. Y'all got that clear, right? Good. All right, so we move on. Black Lives Matter and its media sycophants have convinced many in the public that there is a sickening national conspiracy by white police officers against black males. Founded in resentment of the judicial prosecution of George Zimmerman for the death of Trayvon Martin, the radical organization presents Michael Brown, Eric Garner, and Freddie Gray as recent martyrs of the movement and evidence of their conspiracy theory. Quote, and I get this from Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter is an ideological and political intervention in a world where black lives are systematically and intentionally targeted for demise. Having failed to make Baltimore, New York, or burning Ferguson, they seek their next opportunity to drive the narrative, raise image and funds, and emotionally provoke Americans to seek justice through the courts of public opinion. Ta-da! I give you Louisiana and Minnesota. 2 black suspects, one in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and the other in Falcon Heights, Minnesota, were shot and killed on successive days. Alton Sterling and Philando Castile are killed by police within 48 hours of each other. Democrat governors in each state throw their police under the bus without fully considering the need for the fullest of investigations. Without exerting due process, progressives unite in condemning the police as bad actors and seeking the political will to prosecute them publicly and disarm the American people. The nation so divided with rage and speculation that the President of the United States, Barack Obama, addresses the world from the North Atlantic Treaty Organization's meetings in Warsaw, Poland. Why NATO? Well, since the invasion of radical Mohammedans into Western Europe, terrorism threats have encouraged Britain to leave the European Union, a sincere anti-Obama choice by the British. The Middle Eastern terrorist threats and Russian expansion efforts have put the NATO nations on pause. NATO knows that ISIS, formerly known as the JV team, is more threatening to the U.S. and Europe through lone wolf attacks than ever. He speaks. Although I am constrained in commenting on the particular facts of these cases, I am encouraged that the U.S. Department of Justice has opened a civil rights investigation in Baton Rouge, and I have full confidence in their professionalism and their ability to conduct a thoughtful, thorough, and fair inquiry. But regardless of the outcome of such investigation, which is easy for him to say, he's used to going beyond the outcome, you know what I'm saying? But regardless of the outcome of such investigation, what's clear is that these fatal shootings are not isolated incidents. They are symptomatic of the broader challenges within our criminal justice system, the racial disparities that appear across the system year after year, and the resulting lack of trust that exists between law enforcement and too many of the communities they serve. To admit we've got a serious problem in no way contradicts our respect and appreciation for the vast majority of police officers who put their lives on the line to protect us every single day. It is to say that as a nation, we can and must do better to institute the best practices that reduce the appearance or reality of racial bias in law enforcement. End quote. The president's comments did not bring calm to intensive protests at home. The verdict had already been delivered by the radical vigilantes some 5,477 miles away in Dallas, Texas. Vengeance must be exacted upon a state that supports the execution and annihilation of black men by the deadly force of police. Dallas activist Dr. Jeff Hood, having told Dallas Morning News that he wanted to create a space, quote now, create a space for anger and rage against police, begins his Black Lives Matter march to insurrection. He actually started the march by saying, "God damn white America." Go to the Exceptional Conservative Show Facebook page, scroll down, you will find him saying it. That's how they started the march to insurrection, as I like to call it. He had something in common with a sniper that would execute vengeance upon 5 innocent men: Islam. Dr. Hood once said, "I think that Texas Muslims are the real Christians." Innocent blood drips upon many hands this day. The provoking public opinion trials of the police involved in the deaths of Alton Sterling and Philando Castile and their subsequent Protestants yielded the perfect diversion to the violent pursuits of radical Mohammedan Micah Xavier Johnson. The man who gunned down 5 police officers and wounded several others in a racially motivated attack downtown only wanted to talk to a black police negotiator, a high-ranking law enforcement official told the Dallas Morning News on Saturday. Inside and outside the justice system, those taking the law into their own hands reigned from 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue in Washington, D.C. to the streets of Dallas and now St. Louis. Terrorism flourishes in the rule of law parishes. Race and privilege politics condone it. What covers the shame and guilt? The leftist emboldened ideological agenda and the media's legitimization of one of the country's most radical anti-American organizations, the Democrat Party. You thought I was going to say Black Lives Matter. It's actually the Democrat Party. Long before the Dallas insurrection, the Democrat Party had rasped the liberties and freedoms of American citizens. Their weapons of warfare were racial polarization, animosity towards Judeo-Christian beliefs, and brazen anti-constitutional pursuits. It was not just yesterday that Democrats sought to eliminate constitutionally protected due process to enforce the law by their own standards. We were told that justice was blind, but the miracle of sight was given to it on a tarmac in Phoenix, Arizona. Quote, Mrs. Lynch said the meeting with Mr. Clinton was unplanned, largely social, and did not touch on email investigation. She suggested that he walked uninvited from his plane to her government plane, which we pay for, which were both parked on a tarmac at Phoenix Sky Harbor International Airport. I think I'm going to try to see if I can walk over to Sean's plane when we land in Vegas. Suddenly, the presidential nominee under Federal Bureau of Investigation scrutiny has been deemed by the agency director's recommendations either guilty of every charge against, but too big to prosecute, or merely incompetent. Respect for the rule of law seemed absent because of privilege, power, influence, and access. What say Black Lives Matter? Nothing. Hillary Clinton's legal privileges seem not to provoke concern. Why would it when it works in the favor of Black Lives Matter's champion, President Obama? So when people say Black Lives Matter, that doesn't mean blue lives don't matter. It just means all lives matter. But right now, the big concern is the fact that the data shows black folks are more vulnerable to these kinds of incidents. Justice can be interpreted in any manner that appeases the moment. What matters for Obama? The party's privilege, power, influence, and access matters. What matters for Black Lives Matter? That they remain the mainstream darling able to provoke hostility without a sense of culpability. As long as America can major on the minors and promote the preferred racial narrative, it does not have to focus on the 3 biggest risks to Black Americans: the Democrat socialist agenda, abortion, and the Black liberation movement. Innocent blood drips upon many hands this day. Ladies and gentlemen, I have run out of time, and I'm ever so thankful for yours. I want you to know that a friend of mine told me to always be brave. As you can see, I will take his counsel with great ease. I want you all to know that God has blessed America. But, America, it's time for you to bless God. We'll be back tomorrow night. Janice Hall will be joining us. God bless you. We will see you back at 9:10 p.m. Eastern Time on the Exceptional Conservative Show.